Good evening. My name is Becky Womble, and I'm the President and CEO of the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce. And I want to welcome you to this candidate forum for Bastrop City Council Place 4. With the current pandemic, the Chamber has pivoted and we are doing these forums virtually. So tonight's forum is part of the Chamber of Commerce initiative called BastropVotes.com. The purpose is simple: to promote the vote in Bastrop and Bastrop County. We do this in 3 ways. We actively register voters to vote. We have a website with fair and impartial information about candidates seeking elected office, and we conduct candidate forums like this one tonight so that you can see and hear the candidates themselves before Election Day on Saturday, May 1st, 2021. Since the inception of Bastrop Votes, we've held 17 candidate forums. It's an exciting time to be part of Bastrop and Bastrop County, especially since the announcement of the Tesla Gigafactory in July. With this inevitable growth, we need visionary, energetic leadership, especially with a community of this kind, with this kind of development going on. Before I get started, I want you to know that the slate of questions for tonight's candidate forum was assembled, updated, and vetted by a panel of 4 people from our Government Affairs Committee. They were submitted to the moderator in advance, and he had the sole discretion on which questions will be asked tonight. The questions have a criteria. First, questions directed at one candidate will not be asked. Rude or inflammatory questions will not be used, and questions of a similar content have been combined to prevent repetitive subject matters. I want to remind the candidates to unmute your phones or your laptop and speak clearly into the microphone so our viewers watching this webinar can hear your responses. I don't see this happening, but if necessary, we will mute your mic. The forum will end at 6:30 or when all the questions have been asked. Also, this forum is being recorded and will be posted on our Facebook page as well as our BastropVotes.com website within the next 24 hours. Finally, I need to introduce our facilitators. Tonight, we have with us Diana Greenwood. She will be our timekeeper. She is the past chair of our Government Affairs Committee, a history lover, and an extreme knowledge of politics. So Diana, you want to give them a wave out there?
Thanks, Diane.
Welcome. Finally, I need to introduce our moderator for tonight's forum. It is Charlie Stone. Mr. Stone is a veteran who served as a U.S. Army helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He is a graduate of Southwest Texas, now known as Texas State University, and he graduated with a degree in law enforcement. Mr. Stone has worked as a DPS trooper, been in private business, has served from 1991 to 1999 as the Refugio County Judge. In 2011, he retired after 14 years of service working at the state capitol for a state representative, and finally as an executive director for a state agency. With Judge Stone's extreme variety of experiences, he seemed the perfect person to moderate our forum tonight. So, Judge Stone, I will let you take it from here.
All right, Becky, thank you. I want to welcome the candidates also. I've not had an opportunity to meet them, but I did notice on their candidate sheets that they filled out the questionnaire. They asked to be addressed by their first name, and I want to ask Cheryl and Jimmy if that's okay if I may address you that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, then we'd like to go through the protocols for this forum for the benefit of those who are attending on the Zoom conference that haven't had an opportunity to hear these. So I need to read through these to make sure everybody knows and understands how we do this. And I will tell those attending by Zoom that the candidates have already been provided this information. So let me go through these quickly and then we'll get started on the forum. A candidate who does not attend cannot otherwise be represented either by another individual or a prepared statement. If only one candidate is in attendance, there will be no forum for that office and the candidate present will not be permitted to make a formally sponsored statement. But tonight we do have a contested race. We have those 2 candidates here. Questions will not be made available to candidates in advance of the forum. Each candidate will be allotted the following time slots: a 2-minute opening statement for uncontested place, a 2-minute opening statement for contested places, a 1.5-minute response to each question, a 1-minute rebuttal if the candidate is asked the question first, and then there will be a 2-minute closing statement. And if we have time, we don't know that we will, there may be some question that may be allowed to be added to be asked, but we'll see if that happens at the end of the forum. So the order of statements and questions. The order of the opening statement will be determined by alphabetical order for each office. And then concerning the first question, the first responder to the first question will be the candidate who was second to make his or her opening statement. Subsequent questions will alternate between the candidates. And then to allow time for closing statements, a total of 12 questions will be asked this evening. The timer, Ms. Greenwood, will keep the candidates and moderator apprised of remaining time. If a candidate is in mid-sentence, when the stop sign is shown, he or she may complete that sentence in as few words as possible. And if a candidate attempts to exceed his or her time, the moderator will inform the candidate that the allotted time has expired and direct the forum to continue to the next candidate. So that concludes the reading of the rules and regulations, otherwise known as formats. Now, for the public's information, we have Ms. Drusilla Rogers here this evening. She is on the ballot for place 2, Bastrop City Council. It's uncontested, but she is allowed to make a 2-minute opening statement. So we will begin with those. We'll let Drusilla go first, and then Jimmy, you'll have your time for opening statement, and then Cheryl Lee, and I'll announce that again. So Drusilla, okay, it's your moment in the spotlight.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate being invited to the forum, and good luck to everyone in the election. I know this is a very nerve-wracking time for everyone. And I first wanted to thank the city of Bastrop. It's been an honor to serve on the City Council Place 2 for the last 3 years. And I look forward to the next 3 years. I get asked the question, I guess the most question I get asked during this time is, why would you want to run again? Well, I wanted to run it the second time because I think there's a lot of projects that this council has started, and I'd like to see them through. You know, there's nothing like starting something and not finishing it. So I wanted to make sure I could do my best to finish all the great projects that this council has started to get Bastrop going forward in a positive way. So thank you for inviting me in, and I look forward to being with y'all.
Okay, thank you, Drusilla. Now, before we go to Jimmy and Cheryl, let me just give you a little more information about the questions. We said there'll be 12 total questions for both of y'all. And I was given a whole list of 42 questions, so I only selected 12 out of those. And there are 7 categories of questions, and I managed to find at least one question that was appropriate in each category to ask you tonight. So if the candidates are ready, Jimmy, you're going to be first for your opening statement, and then Cheryl, you can do yours, and then we'll get right into the questions, okay? So Jimmy, you're first.
Okay. Well,
2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Stone, for moderating this thing in the chamber, and Diana for putting it on, and thanks, Diana, for keeping time. I don't think you'll have that problem with me. I hope to go over my time speaking. One thing I found out in doing this campaign is not a lot of people in Bastrop actually know me. So I just, my opening statement is just to give a brief summary of my 61 years in 1 minute or less. So my name is Jimmy Crouch. I'm running for Bastrop City Council Place 4. I'm proud to be running for the spot that Mr. Bill Ennis held, and hope that I can do as much for the city as he did. To let you know a little bit about myself, I was born and raised down Highway 20 in Lockhart. Went to high school there, competed against Bastrop Bears in sports, and have some good memories from Earhart Field, which unfortunately is probably bad for Bastrop. So I still go there and run, so I don't live too far from the track, so I still get to go over there. I attended Southwest Texas, Bessa College, Houston Community College, Utah Valley Community College, and Red Rocks Community College in Denver for continuing education in my chosen field of construction. I've built significant projects in 12 states with budgets up to $130 million, and I've got a 40-year career in construction. I'm currently a small business owner in Bastrop and taxpayer in the city. My immediate family have all moved to Bastrop. So my sister, mother, and father all live here. We got here as quickly as we could and call this our home now. I've been on several city boards. I've served on the Construction Standards Board, the Parks Board on 2 separate occasions, and the Zoning Board of Adjustments. Being on these boards has helped me learn a lot about the city and how it's run, and I was proud to serve on those boards and hopefully on the chamber.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, it's your turn for your 2-minute opening statement.
Good evening, and I want to thank our moderator, Becky Wumble from the Chamber of Commerce, Diana Greenwood, and the administrators of BastropVotes.com, the citizens of Bastrop, and the audience watching and listening for the opportunity to speak in tonight's candidate forum. My name is Cheryl Lee, and I'm running for Bastrop City Council Place 4. I am a native of Bastrop, the second child of Stella Mae Lee and granddaughter of Edna Lee, both lifelong residents of the Bastrop community. My mother was an RN and head nurse at the Bastrop Nursing Center for many years until her passing in 2020, or in 2000. And my grandmother served many lifelong residents of Bastrop in the Bastrop High School cafeteria until her retirement. I have a bachelor's degree in health administration from the University of Phoenix and a master's degree in business administration from Prairie View A&M University. I am in my 4th year of service as a commissioner on the Planning and Zoning Committee, and I serve as secretary on the Bastrop Juneteenth Committee. I'm a proud 21-year labor union member of Communication Workers of America. I am a mother of a son, a public servant, an advocate, and an activist in communities fighting for fair labor, worker rights, better wages, equality, social justice, and equity, as well as judicial reform. Everything I have done in the last decade has been for the purpose of serving communities and doing what I can to make life better for others. I grew up in the city of Bastrop, and I can remember when our population was 3,000. We had a 2-story movie theater on Chestnut, when many of our roads were dirt and fields were vacant, and when all we had to do in this little town in Texas was drive the drag and hang out at Dairy Queen and Pizza Hut. So I have witnessed firsthand growth in population and development in our city. And as we continue to grow into our future, I want to make sure we don't forget about the hardworking citizens who grew up here, raised their families, and shopped here, as well as paid taxes to help Bastrop thrive over the years. We can be a community where we can live, work, and grow. And I am committed to putting in the time and focus residents deserve on the priorities and issues that are important to them. And my hope for tonight is that voters will walk away with that confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay. All right, before I read this first question, I want to tell the candidates that I will try to do my best to make these as clear and distinct as possible. Some of these are rather lengthy, and if you need me to repeat it, just ask me and I'll be glad to do that, okay? So Cheryl, if you're ready, we're going to ask you the first question. You have 1.5 minutes to answer this question. It may take me that long to read this one in the first place. To function well, the city must maintain strong working relationships with the business community and other local partners such as the Bastrop ISD, Chamber of Commerce, county government, and neighboring cities. Do you believe these relationships exist at the levels they should, or is there room for improvement? And what should be done to maintain or to improve these relationships?
Thank you. I do think that there could be room for improvement. We do have good working relationships with those entities now. One of the questions that I'm faced with from the community is how can we better partner with our school district to provide better education, better opportunities, create more homegrown employees in our own city with our graduates. I think that one of the things that I've learned in the last 7 years in being in Bastrop and being active in Bastrop is that we have separate entities. Everyone has separate entities. Everyone's on their own committee. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And I've witnessed firsthand other communities where all of the committees work together no matter what's going on and pull all of their resources to make things happen in those communities. So I would like to see those communities working better because you have a more diverse group of individuals coming together with more diverse ideas to get things accomplished. And it takes more ideas than different people to be able to bring something to fruition. So I would like to see better engagement between the different entities within Bastrop for that purpose.
All right, thank you. All right, Jimmy, you have a minute and a half on that question.
I agree. I think that the city and county governments work together well now. I think that that can always be improved. There are some special circumstances, I think, that they could all work together. I'd like to see them partner for some more playing fields for the kids in the school district. If the city, county, and schools could all pitch in, we could possibly get some additional playing fields, because right now we're at a lack of them. And we have to have things for our kids to do in the community to make them better citizens. And also for new people coming in, they will not come here unless we have some infrastructure here for their kids to do and some entertainment for them besides just jumping in the river and not doing anything. So I think that that will be a real important step, is having those three entities working together in the future.
All right, Cheryl, you have another minute if you want to add anything else, if you think of anything else you want to say.
I'm good.
Okay. Then we'll move to question number 2. And Jimmy, this will be yours first. Again, this is a minute and a half to answer. The city of Bastrop is growing, perhaps even more rapidly now than over the past several years. It is anticipated by many to continue or even increase. In light of this, does the city currently have appropriate staffing and management structures in place to provide a sufficiently high level of service and support to its citizens?
I guess my response to that is no. I don't think we have enough manpower to staff the growth that's about to hit here. Everybody knows that the Tesla Gigafactory is down the road, and everything that and the business that are going to follow that, and the employees and homes that are going to come here and to Lockhart and other areas are going to be they're coming no matter what. The owner of that facility is building it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we won't have time to sit around and wait for things to happen. We have to initiate those things, and I don't know that we have the staff. I would plan on having some additional staff for our building and planning and plan review departments to keep up, and also building inspectors for that growth that'll come here. So I think our staff that's there now does great for the amount of work that we have in our city now. But with what's about to come here, I don't see how they could possibly keep up as good as they are. So I think just to keep everybody's nerves in the right place, that getting adequate help now would help our employees out now immensely.
All right, Cheryl, your turn.
Thank you. We are understaffed to handle what we have right now, let alone what we're projected to have by the time 20,000 people have moved to Bastrop. I am a commissioner for the Planning and Zoning Committee. They do a wonderful job, as well as the other staff, of handling the load, but I do know that they are overwhelmed, and we do need to add additional bodies to be able to handle the growth. We need to be planning to handle the growth and adding staff as that growth occurs. I'm not saying we need to hire 10 people now. We need to be adequately staffed for what we have now, but also planning to handle the growth as it occurs over the next 20, 40 years, as well as adding diversity in our staff to meet the needs of all of our citizens. We need more people to handle the infrastructure challenges we are faced with, such as just public works in general. I think in general, a lot of our entities are understaffed, which results in slow response times in our community, which is a complaint of citizens in our community. So we have hardworking people in Bastrop. We have people who have degrees in Bastrop. We have people that have been here all of their life and would love to work in Bastrop. So we need to utilize the the pool that we have and looking for people that are looking for meaningful employment. And we need to be responsible in our allocation of funds to support these entities and ensure we are prepared for that growth.
All right, Jimmy, you have another minute if you have anything else you want to add.
I think that going back to that, we need more people working on the growth. Bastrop just has instilled a new online permitting platforms for new buildings and things coming up. And since it is brand new, I think it would be good not only for the people that we have there working now to continue to learn that and get trained on it, but we need new people learning it now, because I don't think that everybody's computer literate. Maybe everybody is that's going to be working on it, but it takes time to learn a new system, as it's taking our employees to learn a new system. If we get our people started now, or additional people started now, then they could be prepared for when all that growth comes, and not wait until the growth happens and we're too late, we're behind the 8 ball.
All right, we'll move to question number 3. This is for Cheryl first. In our immediate area, there are other communities with downtown development that is attracting new businesses at a strong pace. What ideas do you have to help attract retail business and lessen vacancy rates in our unique and historic downtown district?
Thank you. Well, we do have the BEDC, and I think that the BEDC is working to bring businesses into Bastrop. And I just think there needs to be more of a focus on targeting various industries to increase job options for the varying education levels, experience, and skill sets of our residents. We need to meet the broader needs of our residents across a wide transgenerational net. One way to do this is by working in collaboration with the school districts to find better ways to engage and encourage students to learn more about local government, city jobs, trade opportunities that might be available to them after graduation, and for those who come back after college. We want homegrown workers in our community, and our residents would, again, much rather avoid that trip into Austin every day. It's been a blessing to be able to work from home and not have to take that trip every day, but unfortunately, people do for better opportunities. We need to do what we can to bring better job opportunities so that we don't continue down a path where we're losing our talent to other cities for better opportunities. Our residents cannot sustain themselves long-term on just retail jobs. We need to provide our residents the opportunity to make an affordable living so that they can pay their bills, raise their families, and afford homes. I would just encourage the EDC to continue in their efforts, but broaden the scope, and I'm hoping that we can continue to address the issues in partnership with the city.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Your response?
Would you repeat the question once again?
I sure will. And don't start his time while I'm reading the question. Just wait until I finish it. Thank you, Diana. In our immediate area, there are other communities with downtown development that is attracting new businesses at a strong pace. What ideas do you have to help attract retail business and lessen vacancy rates in our unique and historic downtown district?
One is to take advantage of our new and improved downtown sidewalks and widened sidewalks and things that we put down there to generate people and traffic down into the downtown area. Another thing is there are a lot of empty spaces there. I'd like to see if we could visit with the owners of the buildings that have the vacancies and see if we can provide them maybe with some incentives to reduce the rate for some tenants to come in and help instigate and bring in some new business to those areas and not have an empty shell, because a partial rent is better than no rent. And some of those buildings have been vacant for quite a while. So that should help out quite a bit if we could do that. And also the BEDC and DMO, if they could continue to help us with our tourism advertising and bring those people in, and that would help our retail people.
All right, Cheryl, you have another minute if you have anything to add.
The only thing I would want to add to that is, again, diverse options. We do have a vibrant downtown. Like I said, I grew up here and I can just remember driving the drag with little to nothing downtown. I would like to see a more diverse mix of things to do downtown, because we still have a generation of people that aren't interested in what's there currently. And we're missing out on an opportunity to keep those people here in Bastrop instead of going into Austin or even San Antonio or Dallas or Houston. So as we look at opportunities and fill those vacant businesses, I would like to see us explore businesses that could bring a diverse mix of things to do in our downtown area to keep our visitors here for 2-3 hours and spend their money so that we can help our economy.
All right, thank you. All right, question number 4, and this will go to Jimmy first. Bastrop appears to many to be having more success attracting retail development than in attracting employment-centered development. Should we be working to attract employment-centered opportunities? And if so, how should we be going about it?
I think that the BEDC has just done a great job into bringing businesses here. I don't know if I totally agree with that there's enough retail here now, or we're having a great growth of retail. We could definitely use more. If the development process and permitting process, I think we're a little bit easier, would be easier to attract some developers here to bring big commercial projects such as maybe Target or that one is always coming up, or other retail establishments to come into the town, and maybe another grocery store out towards the west. But if we have to make it attractive for those companies to come here, and we have to make it attractive for them to build and develop here. And if they come up with a roadblock that delays their construction and delays their opening, and which will delay their revenue from being bought and sold and sales tax generated and revenue generated, then that in turn is just going to bog down everything else that we need, because the city of Bastrop needs those sales tax revenues and housing taxes to sustain what we have as far as our infrastructure and repairs to our infrastructure. So we need to make that a little more expedient and a quicker process for retail to come here.
All right, Cheryl, it's your opportunity.
I also don't think that we can say we have enough retail. I would just again say that we don't have enough diverse options for people. Grocery store, a new grocery store is one of the big things that I have spoken with people in the community about. Many times I myself, if I wait too late in the day to go to HEB, my Starbucks caramel macchiato is gone. I gotta be there at 8 o'clock to get that creamer out of the freezer. So many have asked for more store or grocery opportunities, and a Target would be great that Jimmy mentioned that, because they do have a grocery. They do provide groceries now in Target. So just again, a more diverse pick of opportunities for us to be able to shop here and not go into Austin to get the things that we need. We want businesses interested in providing services in Central Texas to look at Bastrop as a viable option for expansion. And the factors that play a role in that are population, a strong infrastructure, and amenities that will meet the needs of their business corporate structure and their consumers. Economic development is an ongoing process, and as our population continues to grow, we need to meet the needs of our residents, because life changes. Life is going to change. So what we put in Bastrop needs to change to accommodate the needs of our citizens. So yeah, we need better opportunities, better real estate development.
Hey, Cheryl, we're going to have to stop there. Sorry. Okay. All right, Jimmy, you have another minute if you have anything else to add.
I don't.
Okay. I will move to question number 5. And Cheryl, this will be for you first here. Housing and multifamily studies done by the Bastrop EDC has projected strong ongoing demand for housing in Bastrop. What efforts would you propose to attract new development in order to meet this demand?
Thank you. Well, by making better use of public and rural spaces, I think that that's important, as well as our natural amenities to beautify aging neighborhoods and attract new residents to our city. We have, booming housing development out west of Bastrop. However, I think that the totality of Bastrop should be looked at in terms of attracting residents to our community, which in turn will bring in more business opportunities, promotion of shopping locally, and lower our tax rate. How can we need to figure out how we can better leverage our proximity to Austin and other surrounding cities to attract and draw in visitors outside of our community to boost our economy. We should be making sure that we continue to find innovative ways to ensure the use of our codes for both residents and developers are not so tedious and complicated that we are inhibiting quality development opportunities to sustain our city long term. And we need to be looking for housing development opportunities that can offer affordable housing that match the median wage of our residents. The residents of Bastrop deserve a chance to be homeowners and not lifetime renters, but we need to be doing everything that we can to provide that opportunity for them.
Thank you, Jimmy. A minute and a half for you.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Housing and multifamily studies done by the Bastrop EDC has projected strong ongoing demand for housing in Bastrop. What efforts would you propose to attract new development in order to meet this demand?
I think that the new development is pounding on our door right now, so I don't think that we really need to do a whole lot to attract that development. I think what we need to do is make our processes a little easier for that development to come here and develop large parcels of new homes or large parcels of multifamily real estate. Our comprehensive plan is a great plan. It's very detailed, but in my opinion, I think that it needs to be a shade of gray. I think that we're selling that thing as a very black and white document, and that we need to be a little more lenient in our efforts to bring in new development and still have a compromise with the developers on their land, streets, and then still keep the comprehensive plan intact, but have a little bit more wiggle room for the developers to come in, because they will come in and share money and share the infrastructure cost if we make it attractive for them.
All right, Cheryl, you have another minute if you have anything else to add.
Sure, development is on our doors, but however, with the homes that are coming in and the development that is coming in, not everybody can afford it. Times are hard, and hardworking citizens of Bastrop are making a decent living, but can't afford a $100,000 home. And because of transportation costs, medical costs, food, groceries, and utilities. We're offering $100,000, $300,000 homes to people who have incomes of $60,000 or less annually. So we need to be looking at ways to make sure that that development is affordable, and again, that everyone has the opportunity to be able to get a home. And attracting the right businesses and developers to do that can help with that effort.
All right, thank you. Question number 6, and Jimmy, this will be for you first. Give an example of current state and or national legislation you are keeping an eye on that could directly affect the city of Bastrop.
I guess this there's a thing for the what do you call it, EDJ, as far as expanding our footprint out, and I know that there is a move to have unincorporated areas move out of those, and I think we need to keep an eye on that, because we need to expand ours, I think, to encapsulate some more land in Bastrop County to help with our growth to the west. And if unincorporated areas are able to get out of the EDJ that we have now, then that could create problems where they're going to either go independent or, and we could lose that revenue for sales tax and property tax in our city. So that's one. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Mhm.
Cheryl, your answer?
So right now, the state legislature and over the last 4 years, maybe 3 to 4 years, have been establishing bills that are kind of putting constraints on small town cities. It's almost like they are having more control over how our local government is run, as well as funding we small cities need for sustainability. As a local entity, we should be given the opportunity to responsibly manage our budget, our growth, and development using available funding. However, we're a local entity, and we should be able to run our city, you know, based on the decisions of the council and the residents of our community. Our city has done well to seek development opportunities and manage our city in a way that ultimately pays for itself. That's one of the very good things that I can say about our council, is that the initiatives and the proposals and the bonds that we seek, and even when the new development comes in, it's written up and established so that it essentially pays for itself without adding additional tax burdens and fees to our residents. We have a healthy backup fund as a result of those efforts. We have subsidies through VPL, and then we have our tourism. Our tourism prior to COVID does bring in quite a bit to help with sales tax. So these avenues can continue to help us maintain a healthy balance and budget, and then we can ourselves deal with legislators.
Okay. All right, thank you. Jimmy, you have another minute if you wish to add anything else.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, we'll move to question number 7. And Cheryl, this will be for you first. Do you have any thoughts about challenges faced by the local business community relating to currently adopted development codes?
So, I was part of the B3 code, the development of the B3 codes. I actually came in as that was being developed. Many in our community still feel that the process is confusing and takes too long. We ourselves are still, it comes up what might need to be changed based on feedback from the community and developers. So I think that there's still some work to be done to fine tune it, but it was created to be a living document. In 2017, Buc-ee's took a year to get permitting here in Bastrop. Meanwhile, they had another store up and running in San Marcos because of our processes. We need to continue to work on streamlining those processes and working with developers to help them understand the processes. Much of this can be done through technology. Finding the information is also a concern. We can use technology to help our residents and developers better find the information and complete the process online. The B3 codes are certainly an improved addition to the city. However, I feel there's room for improvement, and we should have an open line of communication to better understand the frustrations of developers and residents.
All right, Jimmy, you have a minute and a half also?
Yes, could you repeat it again?
Yes, sir. No time starting until I finish, okay, Diana? Do you have any thoughts about challenges faced by the local business community relating to currently adopted development codes?
Yes, I kind of touched on it a while ago when I mentioned that I felt like the comprehensive plan and the new codes that we've adopted are too black and white and need some gray areas on it. A good example of that is our signage ordinance. Buc-ee's, everybody knows where Buc-ee's is, and Buc-ee's has a massive sign on the side of the highway, and it's on Highway 71. There's a quick stop, truck stop that's going in right across the highway from it, and they applied for a sign variance because a new sign code just allowed them to have an 18-foot monument sign next to a 20-foot overpass. So the signage I think needs to be adjusted to meet the specific areas. I think they should have been able to get one as large as Buc-ee's, since it wasn't that long ago that Buc-ee's was allowed to have one. And a 18-foot monument sign just doesn't make sense for them. I think that we could add a concierge or something to help through the permitting process. San Antonio does something similar like that with their permitting, and you just come in and talk to one person throughout the process, and they kind of walk you through and hold your hand through the entire thing. And I think that we could really use that help in our city as well.
All right, Cheryl, you have another minute if you want to add anything.
Thank you. I do, again, just want to touch back on the fact that I think sometimes when we're looking at the codes and writing policies, we can nitpick things to death. And I don't want us to nitpick the code to the point where it's so restricted that it inhibits us from attracting developers. Again, I go back to the Buc-ee's example. We don't want to lose business because of the nitpicking on the code. So I would like to see council continue to work on that, as well as we're in the process of actually revising the comprehensive plan or making updates and seeing what has happened and what hasn't happened. I think that this is definitely a good time to do that with the projected growth, to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our current and future residents and businesses.
All right, thank you. All right, question number 8, and this, Jimmy, this will be for you first, 1.5 minutes. Building roads and other infrastructure are necessary to support growth and often lead to capital investment in our community by outside developers. This in turn improves the city's tax base. How would you grade the city's current pace of investment in roads and other infrastructure systems?
If I had to give them a grade, I guess a C, maybe lower. Except that they've done a lot of seal coating and topping of roads in the past year. I know that Riverside Grove has had some. I know that within Pecan Street and Cedar Street have been topped and redone. But as far as our maintenance on the roads are concerned, I think that we need to scrap our entire maintenance program and have it revamped and everybody retrained. So that when we do cut in a patch in a road or to fix a road or put a new water line in, that it is properly excavated, sealed, compacted, maybe use global fill concrete instead of gravel that could compact better. And then we, at the end of the day, we won't have a patch that sinks into the pavement. And then in turn, we don't have a guy with a shovel and a pickup or a dump truck filling holes in every spring just to come back and do it the following spring. So one quick install is a lot better done right than a guy with a truck and a shovel of asphalt for 50 years down the road to just create more potholes for us.
All right, Cheryl, you have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. Balancing the need for street repairs against other priorities is challenging for cities, with especially with limited financial resources. There are parts of Bastrop that have endured years and decades of failing streets that have worn down over time, resulting in potholes and degradation due to wear and tear, as well as even weather-related events. Our current list of streets on the preventative maintenance schedule for repair does not include many areas of our city that have been overlooked by the city's planning initiatives for far too long. Our local government has placed a lot of focus on restoring and maintaining the core and our historical and retail district. However, we have hardworking, lifelong citizens and families living in areas that have been underserved for decades. And they're wondering when it will be their turn to get much needed upgrades in their infrastructure, and specifically to this question, street and road repairs. We understand road repairs are costly. However, as a council, we should be using every resource available to us to mitigate that cost through state and other local government assistance programs and grants. And as a council, we should continue to work on updating the comprehensive plan to include the streets that are not being included and in desperate need of repair. It's time the neighborhoods that have been overlooked and underserved become part of the revitalization discussion, and I would like to see that happen as a council member.
All right. Jimmy, you have another minute if you have anything else you want to add.
I think part of your question had to do with contracted out work as well. And I think that's probably a good idea to subcontract work out on the roads and pavement as compared to doing it ourselves. Our workers are great workers and they're experienced in a lot of things, but they're not specifically experienced in rebuilding roads or building roads and placing down base and grading. And then also if our workers have an issue with the paving that we have done ourselves, we have no warranty and no recourse to call back and say, hey, come fix this, it's not per spec or something like that. So I think that the subcontracting is a great way to get rid of that. And then still, I think we have to have ongoing training for our employees, our city employees that are fixing those things too, because there's probably easier, better, faster, quicker, and better products to use on that.
Okay, Jimmy, thank you. All right, we've reached the point here where it's time to have Becky come back in and give us some information announcements. So candidates, you can relax for a little while, and then we'll start in the last 4 questions. Becky, back to you.
So we just want to give the candidates a little bit of a breather here. They've been on the hot seat for a hot minute here or so answering all these questions. But I just want to remind the people that are watching on this webinar, please, if you have a question that you want to ask, please submit it in our chat feature so that we can possibly answer those questions at the end of this. And then I just want to remind you about some upcoming dates. First, early voting starts on Monday, April 19th, and it goes through Tuesday, April 27th. During that first week, the times are going to be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then that second week, the times are expanded from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The early voting sites are at every BISD school campus, so finding a voting site should be very, very easy, especially in the city of Bastrop. And then election day is Saturday, May 1st, with 4 polling locations. Please note that on election day, a voter must vote at the polling location assigned to their precinct. To get these locations, please go to BastropVotes.com and use the voter information tab. And then to save time at the polls, we highly suggest that you print off a sample paper ballot. In accordance with state law, you are not permitted to refer to any kind of electronic device like your cell phone or some kind of tablet. So if you print off a paper ballot and mark in advance what it is that you want to vote for, you are allowed to take that into the poll with you. So from there, if you've had a drink of water and a deep breath, I'll turn it back over to Judge Stone and let him finish out our last 4 questions he has selected.
All right, thank you, Becky. Well, we're 2/3 through, candidates, so just 4 more questions, as Becky said. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay, this is question number 9. And Cheryl, this will be you first on this one, 1.5 minute answer. How do you feel about the city's current financial condition, and what financial challenges do you think the city faces in the near future?
So again, I've been on the Planning and Zoning Committee for going into 4 years. And so I've been able to see firsthand and witness firsthand, you know, the council meetings and the decisions that are being made. And I think our city council has done a great job of utilizing bonds and grants to minimize the cost of taxpayers and funding for development of infrastructure. We have expansions of parks going on over the years, improvements to our library, funding for our police and fire departments, to name a few. Keeping a balanced budget is important, and I feel that our city manager and council have done a great job working together in terms of making sure that we keep a balanced budget while still working to make improvements needed for our city to thrive. The challenges we face, however, is recovery from the impact of the pandemic and working toward increasing our booming sales tax we had established prior to the shutdown so that our community can continue to grow and save money on taxes. In 2019, we received the AA bond rating, which has helped the city to save lots of money on projects. And because of it, of the award of that. And to achieve that, the city had to show that it was taking necessary steps to effectively manage our city. It was based on what types of projects the city was taking on and how the city handled challenges that they faced. So that was huge to be able to receive that.
Okay, Sarah, we'll have to stop right there. Thank you. All right, Jimmy, you have a minute and a half to answer that question too.
Can you repeat it again?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the city's current financial condition, and what financial challenges do you think the city faces in the near future?
I think that the city's financial condition condition now is good. I think Cheryl said, and she's correct, that we have a AA rating, bond rating, and for the infrastructure that we have now, it's good. I think that we need to stop wasteful spending. I know that we've spent, just on the high turnover of city managers that we've had, that we've wasted a lot of salary by them leaving early. And same with our BEDC head that just left. I know that we've spent probably $300,000 in salary to those people just as kind of a buyout. And if we can keep those people and retain them and do a good job of, not that they're not doing a good job of finding them, but we need to figure out some way not to just be throwing away money as the termination happens. Also, we need to, just 1 second here. The proper maintenance also on our infrastructure, doing it one time, and I kind of alluded to that just a minute ago, but just doing that one time instead of 10 times. If you do it in that process, then you save money in the long run by doing it.
Let's stop right there. Okay, Cheryl, you have another minute if you want to add anything.
Thank you. We just need to continue on a path of helping our financial businesses bounce back from the impacts of COVID. And again, continue to look for funding and grants and bonds, focus on future economic development by utilizing resources that will offer incentives and options. The state of Texas uses incentives and options to bring big businesses like Tesla to the state of Texas, right around the corner from us. We need to look at those opportunities as well to attract businesses to our city.
Okay, thank you. Question number 10, Jimmy, this is for you first here, a minute and a half. Do you believe the city should provide recreation services to its citizens, or is this the responsibility of the private sector?
I think it can be both. I think that we're experimenting with that now. With the closure of the YMCA, I think that the city has done the correct thing into jumping in and trying to fill that void that a lot of our elderly citizens and young kids have missed. I've served on the Parks Board for almost the entire time I've lived in Bastrop, and so parks are a big thing to me. I think we need a lot more parks. I think we need a lot more playing fields. I think we need to maintain them. And I see no problem with the city maintaining that loss of the YMCA and trying to do it internally. We have to do it at a fair cost to the residents, and we don't need to compete with the gyms and workout facilities that are here already, because we don't want to be in the workout business. We just want to provide a healthy alternative for our residents, which we can all use. I know that if I'm not exercising, or if I'm not doing something and I'm just sitting in front of the television, and that's never a good option. So the more we can get our residents to work out and be healthy and eat healthy, if the city can help with that by having a recreation program, then that's just great. I'm proud of them for trying to do that.
All right, thank you. Cheryl, your response?
Yes, thank you. I think it was very innovative for the city to come up with the citywide rec program that's beginning post-COVID. Unfortunately, we did lose the YMCA, but I think that the city manager is doing a very good job of incorporating activities, physical activities into our area, as well as helping those that do those kind of things, helping the people that want to start their own yoga business or exercise business or workout program. Even there's some football camps maybe that are being planned. I think that that's good for our community as a whole. And eventually I'd like to see us establish a city rec center. Many small towns have them. The comprehensive plan talks about an aquatic location or venue, and I think that that would be something that could be incorporated into a city rec center. So I love walking around this small town. I can get 7 miles in. It's a good workout till it hits 100 degrees, and I use my treadmill, but I did yoga the other day through the City Rec program, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think that it's good for our community, as well as the other opportunities for people that still prefer gyms and other exercise businesses.
All right, thank you. And then Jimmy, you have another minute if you want to add anything.
I know that being on the Parks Board, that we've talked about adding playing fields and some areas of the city that we can add fields or a rec center or any number of things. And I really think that we need to do something with that. We need to act on that and get that started. I know that some of these new subdivisions have donated portions of their land. Like at Pecan Park behind Walmart, that they provided parkland down there. If we could extend the trails and stuff through there, which I know the plans are to do that, but we just need to keep that up, maintain it, and keep our citizens healthy and moving. It's just good for everyone.
All right, this will be question number 11. And Cheryl, this will be for you first. Suppose the city council was considering a development proposal that met all regulations and ordinances, yet was disliked by a large number of citizens who appeared before the city council in opposition. How would you decide how to vote?
Thank you. So I was actually faced with this on planning and zoning. A gas station wanted to come in, and they wanted to come in into a neighborhood that several people came and spoke out against it. I was brand new. It might even been my first meeting on planning and zoning. And one of the questions I had was, what were the implications if they were meeting all regulations? And we told them no. And you know, of course, I was told we could face a lawsuit, and there could be other implications or pushback from the business. That business ended up moving to a different portion of the town. If a development meets the regulations, then the city council has and the city has the responsibility to uphold our policies. However, it's important that we listen to our constituents so that we are attracting development that is meeting the needs of our constituents. There wasn't a need for a gas station in that area because there was a Buc-ee's right there and another gas station next to Buc-ee's. Our main priority is taking care of business and meeting the needs of our citizens. And sometimes we're forced to make decisions where we have to vote based on policy. But I think that listening to our community and showing them that we value their opinion is very important. And if there are reasons that we can't comply with their request, then that needs to be explained to them versus just saying no, turning them down and continuing with everyday life.
All right, thank you. Jimmy, you have a minute and a half to respond.
Yes, sir. Once again, could you repeat it?
I sure can. Suppose the city council was considering a development proposal that met all regulations and ordinances, yet was disliked by a large number of citizens who appeared before the city council in opposition. How would you decide how to vote?
You have to do, we're working for the citizens of Bastrop, and not all of our decisions are going to be liked by everyone. As a matter of fact, none of them probably will be. You have to be a good listener. You have to be a good compromiser. You have to see what you can do to help everyone understand if a decision is made to allow something in that's met all the requirements and done the legwork and done the work to come here, then the majority of the time, I think if they've spent that time and effort and money to do that, then more than likely they're going to be allowed to come in. It would have to be, I guess, one thing that comes to mind is a dump that was coming to Lockhart, and none of the citizens like it because they don't. Who wants a dump in their backyard, right? But they're needed. You have to have them. You have to have them somewhere, and or then other areas are going to suffer. So that's something that you really have to look at. And some of your decisions may not be popular, but you have to take into consideration everything that is done. And like Cheryl said, listen, communicate back to the people and explain to them why you can or can't do something, and just keep that communication open the whole time.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. You have another minute if you have anything else to add.
Thank you. My goal is to actively communicate with the community, and in doing so, it's my responsibility to provide them the understanding they need to better help them accept and trust that the decisions that we are making at council are in their best interest. We don't want to start a process where we change the rules every time an initiative is not favorable in our community. However, we should be a council that's open to book input from our citizens and be empathetic to their concerns and opinions, so that we can work toward a common ground with them, and that works for the best interests of our city.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. Question number 12, last one, and Jimmy, this is your question first, a minute and a half to answer. Assume you have been elected and a citizen who is a personal friend calls you one night to express serious concerns about his or her child has been treated by a police officer. How would you respond?
For one, you have to act immediately. You call the supervisor or police chief, and you have to have everything looked into it independently. I think you need all sides available to listen to stories, listen to the story of the person that was neglected, and deal with it as quickly as you can. It's really tough, you know, in the times that we're in now. The police have a really hard job to do, and knowing where to draw that line. And I wouldn't want to be a policeman, but I respect the heck out of them for what they do every day. And to me, you just have to listen to both sides to see what the story was, and then make a decision, you know, on that. You can't do it one person. It needs to be a committee of people to do that, I think, so that you can make sure you're getting all the questions asked, all the questions answered, and all the questions reviewed by independent group, not just of policemen, not just of parents, but listening to the whole story.
All right, Cheryl, you have a minute and a half to respond to the question.
Thank you. Our job as city council members is to create policy for the city and work with the city manager to implement those policies. However, we have a responsibility to listen and meet the needs of our constituents. One of those needs is having an effective and well-trained police force and a policing policy focused on community policing. As a member of the council, part of the role is ensuring all citizens are safe, and that might even mean safe from police officers who are not conducting themselves appropriately. It goes back to accountability. I would instruct that individual to contact the police department and file a report. And in an effort to not overstep my role and responsibilities as a public servant, I would relay the information to our city manager for further consideration. You can't say we should listen to our citizens on one hand, and then they come to you with something and it's uncomfortable, so you wash your hands and say you don't want to get involved, which is what happens in a lot of these cases. We should listen intently, show empathy, and provide appropriate guidance within the scope of our duties as citizens and civic servants, and in accordance with our policies and organizational structure, to help direct residents to the right solutions. It doesn't mean we'll always be able to get involved to solve the problem, but we should take the time to direct them to where they need to go to address the issue.
All right, thank you. Jimmy, you have another minute if you have anything else to add to that question.
No, sir, I don't think so.
All right, well, that finishes the 12 questions. I need to get Becky back on here and see if we have any other questions. I think we're over time, but I'll
We
let you make
are.
the call.
Charlie, we're at 8:37, so we probably need to move on. There was one question, but we usually like to do it in pairs so that we stay on our rotation cycle. So we need to move to closing comments.
All right, we're going to go to closing. Now, this is 2 minutes each, candidates. And Cheryl, you get to go first for 2 minutes on your closing statement, and Jimmy, you'll follow her after that.
Well, thank you again to the entities that work together to provide us a way to speak to the community for this election. To the audience for joining in, my son, who is neglected right now, my supporters, and to everyone that understands and participates in the forum, this form of democracy, because it works best when all eligible voters participate and have an opportunity to attend things such as this to address concerns with the candidates. I am Cheryl Lee, and I'm asking for your vote for Bastrop City Council Place 4. Transparency, integrity, and leadership. These are 3 core values that you can expect with me as your City Council Place 4 representative. I'm a hometown Bastropian with hometown values. Bastrop is a special place. We're a growing and vibrant community with a diverse population. We can, I believe, find the happy balance between celebrating and preserving our historic history, but at the same time, taking the steps we need to prepare us for the changes and challenges we face in the future. I want Bastrop to continue on a path where residents can make a living, raise a family, and have a quality of life right here in our special city. As a council member, I'm committed to listening to the needs of the community as we make decisions that will directly impact your everyday life. And I want to support the core functions of maintaining our city by listening to our citizens, working with various boards and committees, and promoting the city's economic development and exploring affordable housing options. I will continue in my efforts, as I have on planning and zoning, to work with the mayor, city manager, and fellow council members to establish a budget that properly uses our tax dollars to keep our city safe, maintain our infrastructure, and promote growth, while keeping the charm we love about Bastrop. I'm committed to making sure we are prepared to invest the money into the growth of our city. We don't want to forget about our lifelong residents in areas that have been underserved for far too long. And I'm asking for your vote on May 1st that I can help Bastrop be a place where people of all socioeconomic status and ages can thrive.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jimmy, 2 minutes.
Well, thank you to Becky in the chamber and Diana and Charlie, you guys for putting this on. I really appreciate it. I am not a politician by any means. I'm just a resident of Bastrop that thinks they can do something to help better our city, and that's why I'm in this race. And it's all a lot of volunteer work. It's all a lot of leg work, and I've really enjoyed the process of the campaign, because I sit up at night and I just answer emails all night from people that I'm getting, and I really enjoyed doing that, letting them know how I feel about things and how we can help the city, and that's what I think all of us should be doing. As far as what I have written here, I'll work with the citizens of Bastrop to the best of my ability. I will be transparent in all that I will and will do while I am on council. I will go above and beyond to serve all of the citizens and future citizens to make Bastrop a better place for your family. We should all be proud of our community. We should share that pride with everyone that we talk to. We need to change the perception of Bastrop as the city of fire and flood. Everybody that I know that I have friends with in Austin, that's what they think we are, is a fire happened here and you get flooded every year, and we're more than that. We survive those things, we rebuild from those things, and we make our community better by working together and getting through those things. And really that's it. That's what this whole thing is about, is to help our community to be better. My kudos to the mayor and current council and the councils before them for going through this process and giving us what we have right now. The wastewater treatment plant and water wells are awesome.
I'll have to stop you right there. Thank you. Thanks to both candidates. Thank you for your desire to keep Bastrop a great place and make it even better in the future, and for your willingness to serve the public in a public service position. So I'm going to turn it back over to Becky now.
Thank you, Judge Stone. I just need to recognize a few people tonight. And first of all, it's Chris White, our communication and media manager. He's my wizard behind the curtain who makes this look seamless, and I don't have to worry about touching a button on a computer and bringing one face up and taking another face down. So anyways, he needs lots of kudos because he's the man behind the scenes. So I also need to thank our Governmental Affairs Committee and our board of directors led by our chairman, Lori Tuggle. Literally, this initiative started in 2015 because we had a city council that was dysfunctional. And I think what I see today on our city council and how they work together as a collaborative body is a direct result of some of the efforts of this initiative. So I also need to thank Diana Greenwood for her constant support of our governmental affairs efforts here in Bastrop and Bastrop County. And then of course, I need to thank Judge Stone all the way up there in Colorado for helping us put on a very professional, fair forum as a service to our citizens of Bastrop, Texas. So thank you, Charlie. Finally, I want to thank you two candidates. You were amazing. I know that those were some tough questions. And you know, I know that our citizens want to hear the answers to those questions. And I think both of you did a fantastic job tonight and we're very cordial to each other. And that's an important thing and also an example to other people running for office. So if you're behind your computer screen, just kind of give them a virtual round of applause for their professionalism and courtesy to each other tonight. And then I want to make sure everybody knows that on the ballot with the city council race is also a school board race and a school bond. If you have any questions about the school bond, please get your questions answered. We have on Monday, April 19th at 8:15, a Zoom call that we are scheduling. And Evan, who is the treasurer for the Support BISD Kids, will be on that Zoom call. It's a safe place to ask questions, to find out how this bond is going to be financed. And you can register for that educational opportunity just like you registered for this event tonight. And then if you need a sign for the school bond, we have them here at the chamber as well as Bastrop, at RE/MAX Bastrop area. So in December of 2015, the BastropVotes.com initiative was just a good idea. Today, I think it's a very successful initiative and it's making a difference in our elected bodies in Bastrop and Bastrop County. So when you go to the polls, I hope that you will evaluate your options on the ballot, investigate the candidates, and vote for candidates that are pro-business. Our city and county is at a crossroads and we have some enormous growth coming at us fast and furiously. So again, early voting starts on Monday, April 19th. It concludes on Tuesday, April 27th, with election day on Saturday, May 1st. And so guys, if you need more information, go to BastropVotes.com, go on the information tab, and it gives you more information about the upcoming elections, polling sites, and everything you need to know about the ballot and election day on the 1st. So thank you for spending an hour with us and have a great evening. Good night.